A couple of weeks ago, I made a video talking about the top 10 worst Mario Kart tracks, and today we are talking about the top 10 best Mario Kart tracks. Well, actually, I increased it to 20 because there's just so many good ones. Of course, for this data, I pulled it from across the internet, looking at everybody's kind of fan favorites, also putting it throughout my community and seeing what they chose, and also some of my personal favorites as well, to put together a list of the top 20 Mario Kart tracks of all time. Now, of course, a disclaimer before we start, lots of this is based on what I feel like is the best 20 tracks. Of course, you can have a different opinion, it's perfectly fine. It's probably impossible to find the best Mario Kart track of all time and just kind of pick one of the multiple tracks as the best, so obviously everyone's going to have a different opinion, just keep that in mind. If you disagree, just kindly put your list down below. I would love to look at what you guys have come up with. But if you like this video, make sure you leave a like and subscribe to stay up to date on all things Mario Kart and Nintendo in general, and let's get into the list of the top 20 Mario Kart tracks. Starting off the list at number 20, we have DK Jungle Parkway from Mario 64. I think it's safe to say that Mario Kart has had some pretty good Donkey Kong themed tracks, and we're going to see him a couple more times on this list. But DK Jungle Parkway is just relaxing, I think is the best way we can describe it. As you go over the lake and just fly over and land on the dirt path, it does have a satisfying feel of almost like a vacation spot to me. I really can't explain it. Then going through the trees and eventually making your way into the cave is a great way to end the lap. I just love the whole aesthetic to this whole thing. Like, there's a steamboat going down the river, and I just love how the sunset is just kind of coming over the trees. It's a beautiful looking track, and it's a really great one to start our list of the top 20. Personally, I think Mario Kart 64's Bowser Castle is one of the best Bowser Castle tracks in the series. I love going into Bowser's Castle and seeing all the different thwomps spinning around and trying to hit the ground and having to dodge them in the right way, watching for patterns and just making sure that you're on the right side of the road and the right side of the room at that time. I also like the fact that you get to make your way through various parts of Bowser's Castle, like his courtyard, and eventually all the way to the top to go throughout the roofing. It's a really pretty course for Bowser's Castle, and to me it stood out as one of the best for the Koopa King. Ribbon Road wasn't one of the greatest tracks back in the day, but man, its return on Mario Kart 8 was a great one. This is probably one of the coolest aesthetic looking tracks in the entire series. It gives off a huge Toy Story vibe where you're small and shrunken down into these giant platforms and racetracks, and you get to see toys and shelves all in this like kid's bedroom, which is really cool. You can even see the bed and posters on their wall. I mean, obviously the background is great, but the track itself is really fun as well. Different colored sections of road stretch out amongst a really fun track, whether you're on the ground or bouncing on the wavy ribbon up in the air. It has some really fun shortcuts as well that can make or break the end of a game, and to me, this is a really good track. I was actually shocked to see so many people tell me how much they love Delfino Square, mostly because I love this track, because clearly being a Sunshine fan, this means the world to me. Seeing people's hope for this to come back in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe's Booster Pass made me very excited. I love this track, and I love the many different shortcuts and paths that you can take if you have mushrooms in your hand. Because man, it really opens up. You can go down to the dock or cut between buildings into the mud, and of course jumping over that giant drawbridge is a really satisfying part of the stage. I love how they represented Mario Sunshine with this track, and I think they did so in a great way. If you ask most people at all about Mario Kart tracks that they've played in their lifetime, you're going to get a lot of people that probably say Mushroom Gorge. To me, it's probably one of the most memorable throughout the Mario Kart franchise. At least when you played on Mario Kart Wii's online, almost everybody would pick this track over and over and over again. It's a little bit different because instead of just racing down a pure track, this time you're bouncing off of bouncy mushrooms, and for better or worse, it really depends on, you know, kind of where you stand on this point. I know a lot of people that hate the bouncing, and I know a lot of people that absolutely love it, and it adds a different aesthetic and feel to the track. I just love going into the Crystal Cave, and it looks so beautiful on Mario Kart 8 Deluxe's DLC Booster Pass, and I was glad to see it back as well. Of course, we all know and love the infamous Mushroom Gorge gap at the very end that can make or break your race, which was always fun to try to hit with a mushroom. I kinda cheated on this one and put together both Wuhu Loop and Maka Wuhu because they both take place on obviously Wuhu Island from Wii Sports Resort, and I love these tracks. This is one of the very first times we got to see a checkpoint based system for the laps instead of just going around the same track 3 times, where it was just one huge stretch. It took you around the Wii Sports Resort Island. How cool was that? It was like also the first non-official Mario Kart track. This was from another series, which was super cool to see in Mario Kart, and obviously later on we'll see series being represented like Zelda and even F-Zero. Not only were these tracks very important to Mario Kart Kart's future, but they were just so much fun to drive on. Now, the reason why I didn't put them a lot higher was simply because there was a lot of straightaways where you just kind of drove straight, but there's also lots of shortcuts in the beginning of these tracks to get you going. But I just love the fact that it takes you around the mountain and is a really good callback to the Wii Sports games, and I'm just glad to see this in Mario Kart. I would really love to see them return, even though I don't think it's going to happen within the booster pass, but man, imagine if they put both of these tracks together for just one giant track. Yeah, it would be pretty long and, you know, pretty annoying probably for a lot of people, but I would love to see it nevertheless. Mario Kart 8 has some very basic ideas for tracks that just came through in such a grander way, like the underground subway and simply just having an airport in the game. Sunshine Airport just feels right though. It's a very quick track from beginning to end, but it is just a really great one. You have little air markers when you're flying through the air, and you get to see airplanes kind of fly right by you, and sometimes right above you, which just adds to the realism of the entire track itself. You get to drive right through the baggage claim area, and right as they're boarding planes, and even drive through planes, and on the wings of planes, and even through planes in the air. Yes, I love Mario Sunshine, but you have to admit yourself that Sunshine Airport is just really good. I feel like DK tracks love two things, snow or mountain jungles, and of course we're going to the snow with this one of DK Summit on Mario Kart Wii. This track was so cool, using the barrel once again to blast to the top of the mountain, pretty much going down the entirety of a ski resort. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Instead of skis though, you're using your carts. You have to dodge giant thick blankets of snow, and you get to do tricks like crazy on all the snow bumps going all the way down, and of course off the side ramps as well. Obviously, when this comes back, we won't have the side ramps, which will just not feel the same as the original Mario Kart Wii did. Going down that final half pipe at the end and doing tricks and trying to dodge the snowboarding Shy Guys as well doing tricks is always just such a satisfying feeling. And you can even see stuff going on the replay monitor at the end as well, which just kind of tied everything together like a big kind of X Games type of track, and I absolutely loved it. Look, we talked about some unique tracks, but what about a cruise liner? That is a unique track for sure. We've been underground subways, we've been to airports, but let's just do it on a boat now. A cruise ship, yeah, that's gonna make for a really cool track, and it does, man. Going from the top deck and then diving into some pools and then through the dining area where you get to see the dining tables just kind of slide back and forth from the ship moving on the water is just such a cool idea. Once again, I love how the 3DS version actually allowed you to go into the water, and obviously with that underwater mechanic, added some really cool parts to the ship as well, which I will love to see return in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe's Booster Pass, which I think is already rumored and leaked to happen, which is going to be exciting to see this amazing track return. Number 11, we have Dino Jungle from Mario Kart Double Dash. It's just something about stages that actually feel like it's almost telling a story, or at least has a really unique theme to it. And this one definitely does. It's like you're going back in time to the Stone Age. Yep, and you're hanging out with dinosaurs. Something I love about tracks is when they have different segments that feel like different areas completely in the entire track. You'll have an area where you're kind of dodging dinosaur feet in the deep jungle, then an area where you're on this boardwalk trying to make your way to an ancient temple. And there's a portion where you're in this temple going through kind of a crystal cave. And then there's a portion where you're back out making your way through a field of geysers to finish the lap. Of course, Mario Kart 7 just tweaks it to make it a little bit better by adding some flying sections as well. But man, this track has so much built into it and it almost tells like a small story in and of itself. I love the shortcuts here as too because they really can make or break a race if you mess it up, and I just love everything that this track has to offer. I really hope this one returns as well, and I think this one is also rumored to come back and leaked to come back within the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe Booster Pass. I've always been a big fan of Bowser's Airship Armada, and especially like in games like Mario Galaxy where you actually got to play a level going across these airships. Airship Fortress is no exception. It's like a sky stage mixed with a Bowser's Castle track, and it works so well. There's so many cool portions of going within the battleship itself, then blasting out of the cannon to reach the top of a broken castle tower, just to kind of drift your way all the way down to the bottom. Not to mention, it really tests your skills as a racer, because there's so many obstacles from flame pillars moving back and forth, boxes within the airships, rocky wrenches coming out of the ground throwing wrenches at you, and of course, the airship itself shooting giant bonsai bills at you as you make your way through each lap. There is so much going on in this track, and I really would love to see it return as well. Yes, we've seen tons of Wario and Waluigi stadiums throughout our times playing Mario Kart, but there's one that kind of took the cake for me, and that is Wario Colosseum. This time it feels like you're in some type of derby or circus as you're making your way up and around loops and all the way through cages and of course across metal fencing, which just makes it feel like a complete circus act. There are so many quick ramp boosts and turns that you have to make at the last second in order to keep yourself from dragging on onto that wall and of course slowing down, and I love that. It's a very fast-paced, high-stakes track that definitely does have sections with no walls that you have to be careful with, but also sections where you have to continuously drift from left to right and make sure you know where your positioning is on the track at all times or you're a goner. It's a shame that this track has never made a return after Double Dash, and I would still love to see it return again, but man, just the vibes that this track gives is immaculate ones. To me, has one of the best themes out of all the different Wario tracks that they have to offer. Let's all be honest for a second. Who doesn't like Koopa Cape? It's such a beautiful looking track with such a nice upbeat soundtrack to keep you engaged during the entire race. For one, you start off on the side of this cliffside, kind of making your way wrapping around to a giant river, which eventually empties into a giant tube, taking you all the way to the end of the level. And of course, you have to make sure you dodge the ongoing electricity traps inside that tube as well. It doesn't do anything super crazy or super out of the ordinary, but it's just a very pretty track that a lot of people have come to love over the years. And of course, I would love to see this return in Mario Kart 8, as I've said with multiple of the other tracks already. For me, I wasn't quite as big of a fan of the Mario Kart 7 version, which actually emptied the tube of its little river stream and just kind of made it a giant underwater passage. This track is still a beauty and definitely worth the top 10 slot. There are so many Rainbow Roads in the Mario Kart series, but the Rainbow Road from Mario Kart 7 is so good. It is a checkpoint based track that takes you from the very beginning of what Rainbow Road was all about from the very beginning. It's just a rainbow road with many different twists and turns. Then you start to realize right around lap 2 what makes this rainbow road so different is it has aesthetic to it. You're not just randomly in space, but this time it actually adds things that kind of make you feel like you're in space, like planets for one instance, where you'll be drifting around planets and even riding on the rings of Saturn. Even a portion where it actually kicks you off the rainbow road and puts you down on a moon full of craters where you get to do tricks off of and continue moving forward, dodging giant chain chomps that are rolling around the planet as well. And of course, it has an absolutely amazing ending where it shoots you out of a rainbow tube and allows you to either fly through the air if you hit the blue pads or boost on the ground with the red ones. So you can have like a different type of approach by going through this level depending on how you want to take it. You can fly through the meteor storm or kind of just continue on the rainbow road down below. It's such an amazing track. Mount Wario is literally like DK Summit, but on crack. You're at the world's tallest mountain at the tippy top, shooting out of a helicopter, for crying out loud. How cool is that? It's another one of those tracks where it's more checkpoint based instead of laps, but oh my goodness, you're going down a giant mountain the entire time. So the entire time, not only are you gaining speed, but you have to hit super tight cuts as well, which just makes this track so much fun. There's a crazy portion that takes you through a small wooded area and it's filled with trees. It's like you're absolutely driving through a regular forest that you're not even supposed to be driving through. I love that addition, and it really makes you have to hit perfect cuts and dodge items in this little wooded area, which still today can make me upset from bumping into random trees. There's even portions with little trick bumps just like DK Summit had, and you'll even be drifting left and right as you go down the mountain just like you're skiing. And I love how the final stretch is a shot right down the mountain, and even flying down to the crowd down below in order to finish the race is just such a great feeling. I love this track to death, and it's definitely one of my favorites within the Mario Kart franchise. To all of the Donkey Kong tracks, there just still hasn't been a track as good as DK Mountain. This one just screamed Donkey Kong. It felt like you were really at home as Donkey Kong. You made your way up this zigzagging mountain just to blast off in a cannon on the way to the top of a volcano, where you got to race all the way down, dodging giant falling debris and rocks bouncing either which way. After making your way back down the volcano, you'll come back into the jungle, where you have to make some vicious hard turns in order to make sure that you don't fall in the giant chasm that's there as well. And of course, the final stretch is a giant wooden rope bridge all the way to the finish line. And you guys probably know how cataclysmic this bridge can be. If you get bumped or hit by any item, you can easily fall off and it can ruin your laps. It's definitely messed me up up multiple times before in the past, but it's just a really fun bridge to race on too to end the stage. So number 4, I had to get a little bit more personal based on my own feelings for the track. And for something as simple as Yoshi Circuit, which is just a circuit of an island that's in the outline of a Yoshi, it's such a good track. Sometimes simplicity is bliss, and this is the perfect amount of simplicity, which it does have very, very tight, precise turns, or you'll find yourself in the grass a lot of the time, but that's what just makes it so good, is because it's a track that not necessarily relies on items for your help, but if you drive real well, you will be rewarded, and it feels really good to hit your cuts and get those extra sparks on all your drifts around each and every turn. Not to mention that shortcut through the waterfall is just like one of my favorite shortcuts of all time. It just feels so good, and it's actually a huge shortcut, believe it or not, and it just goes to show that a circuit can still be a really good track within Mario Kart if done right, and Yoshi Circuit is definitely rewarding as one of the best circuits and best tracks in Mario Kart history. Don't worry everybody, I remembered Waluigi Pinball. Now I feel like a lot of people now hear that just because people love this so much, they're starting to say that it might be a little overrated, and I still don't think that's the case. Yes, a lot of people love Waluigi Pinball, and obviously it coming back to the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe Booster Pass just raised that love for people even more. But this track is so good for what it even is. Remember, this is just one giant pinball machine that we're racing on. That is super unique in and of itself as a design for this track, but it works so well with the pinballs rolling throughout the level the entire time, and you having to dodge them as they're flying every which way. You have to actually pay attention to where the balls are rolling and bouncing off of and how they're bouncing off the bumpers, because it really can change how the track works. I still just love the feeling of blasting through the tunnel as if you're the pinball yourself and you're shooting yourself into the table. I love the tight turns and the gimmick of this track with the pinballs rolling everywhere, but it really just comes down to the aesthetic of the glowing neon lights and all the sound effects, and even the item sound effects that you get changes throughout this stage. This is a ultimate track for sure. Picking the final 2 best Mario Kart tracks is such a hard task with so many tracks in the series, but going back and looking at some of the ones that people will continue to name every single time I ask the question of which is your favorite track, these 2 will always come up on the list as some of the best fan favorite Mario Kart tracks ever. And at number 2, we have Maple Tree Way. The vibes here are just immaculate. You feel like you belong here when you race here. I remember my sister used to tell me as a kid that she wanted to live here when she grew up. It's such a beautiful track with an amazing soundtrack, and just racing through the top of fall trees is so much fun. It's just such a peaceful, beautiful stage. The colors are popping every time you race through this track, and you just want to bop your head to the music, but also just want to race through the top of the trees, find even more shortcuts because there are still a lot of them that take you in a different path, and blasting your way through that cannon over and over again never gets old. Maple Tree Way will forever be in my heart as one of the best Mario Kart tracks of all time. And coming in at number 1 as the best Mario Kart track of all time, I have Coconut Mall. Who doesn't know about Coconut Mall? You can ask non-players of Mario Kart what is their favorite track, and they would probably recite Coconut Mall. Everyone remembers this one. This was the original Mario Kart track to stick with everybody, my friends, my family, everyone you can think of. And of course, Nintendo even knew this as putting it as the first track revealed in the very first DLC for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Who wouldn't want to compete on a track where you race through a mall in a Mario Kart game? It's a shortcut that takes you through the shopping mall stores. You can race through the food court. You can race on the bottom floor to the top floor thanks to the alternating escalators. And of course, it shoots you outside through the mall parking lot where there's cars that you have to dodge as well. Man, everything about this stage rocks, and of course it has one of the best soundtracks in any Mario Kart track to date. Like I said before, you just bring up this name and most people will understand what you're talking about. Coconut Mall is a living legend amongst the Mario Kart tracks, and to me, it more than deserves its rightful spot at the number 1 slot. Of course, let me know what would be your list of your top 10 or top 20 Mario Kart tracks, because I'm sure it would be slightly different than mine. And let me know what you thought about this list, and please leave a like and subscribe to stay up to date on all things Mario Kart and Nintendo everything. And like always, I'll see you all on the next one. See ya, guys.